Hey everyone, it's Emily. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for tuning in today. This video is all about brushes, specifically budget-friendly brushes. And it's not to say that these brushes are worse than more expensive brushes, but I feel like I've seen a lot of these videos up on YouTube about brushes that you need in your collection, and some of us can't afford $60 for one brush or $50 on one brush. So this is a more affordable way for you to have brushes in your collection, and these are ones that are my favorites in my collection. I have high-end brushes, I have low-end brushes, I use them all the same, but these are brushes that I feel if you are on a budget and you are wanting to invest in some brushes, there's a way to go about it without breaking the bank, and then maybe eventually can save up for more expensive brushes. But honestly, these brushes are awesome. I use them on a daily basis. Some of them I've had for years and still look brand new. So we're just going to jump into these brushes, and I will say all these brushes are synthetic hair. They are a way to have a more affordable option. They're all synthetic. They're also all vegan, which is awesome. And so just take that into account. Maybe if you're wanting more of a natural hair brush, then I don't know where to direct you. So 3 brands we're going to talk to you guys about is e.l.f., Wet n Wild, and Real Techniques. All 3 are great options for shopping for brushes. I've had great success with them, and when shopping for brushes, don't feel like you need every type of brush all at once. This is definitely a collection. I've gotten 1 or 2 every now and again, and now that I have an assortment, because brushes you can have for years if you take care of them. So I will be discussing some things that I also use for cleaning my brushes and making sure that they are in great form. So I'll leave those towards the end if you want to just see like brush tools. So I have brushes in this video from $1 to $10. I might have one that's a little bit more, and I'll discuss that in a second just because I got it in a set. So individual, I'm not sure what the price is. But first we're going to start off with face brushes. So when I'm doing my foundation, personally, I usually use my hands. It's a great way to just warm up the product. Also, if you use foundation in like the palm of your hand when you first use it, it can actually do the oxidizing for you, or if it changes color, you can notice that before actually putting it on your face. So I usually use my hands, or I'll use a sponge. Now I know this isn't a good option for a lot of people because you don't want to have to buy a new sponge every couple of months, but I really do like this one. If you are into the beauty blender, or if you always want to try it, honestly, the L'Oreal sponge is just as good. I love this little guy. You put it in water, it doubles in size, and it gives a really great finish to the skin. I will say this one is not something you'd want to use if you are trying to have the most coverage, because it is going to shear it out just a bit, but it does do a great job at blurring. And I do like the taper because you can really get in there for concealer as well. So the L'Oreal sponge is a great option. I know Flower Beauty also has a good option as well. I haven't tried that one personally, but I've heard great things. If you want a brush option, I had the Real Techniques buffing brush. This one is a nice flat surface. You can really get a good speed going, and I really like it. I like the shape of it. It's very flat. I really enjoy this brush. I, again, normally use my hands or a sponge, but you can definitely use a brush, and this one is one that I have used. I know e.l.f. also has a really great one, which I also have. So very similar shape, as you can see. This one is dirty, as you can see. You can use either. Personally, I don't know, I like the weight of the Real Techniques one just a smidge more, but both do a really great job and both affordable options. Now, this is the brush that I said is maybe over $10. I haven't double checked, but I got it in a set with a couple other brushes that I will discuss. So they came in a set of 3. So these little guys here, and I wanted to discuss all 3 of them. So the buffing brush is an awesome one for foundation. Again, e.l.f. also has an awesome one as well. For concealer, I normally only use this brush here for concealer, and this is the, let's see, pointed foundation brush. Now this for me is a little too small for a foundation, but I do love how tapered it is and how slim it is, so I can really pinpoint where I need concealer. I love how close I can get to my inner corner and like really get a great buff it, and I love how I can get to like the inner corner, and I can really just pinpoint where I need it. I can use it over here where I conceal or spot conceal, and I love this little guy, and again, I got it in a set. Moving on to some of my favorite brushes, and I have these guys here, and these are all for face, but they're for your powder products. So let's start off. Oh, I forgot one. This one here. Okay, so let's start off with my favorite brush in my whole collection. You guys heard me talk about it a number of times if you've been here for a while. And this brush here is probably about 5 years old. And it still looks brand new. It doesn't look like the ferrule, which is this part here. It doesn't look like the ferrule is losing any glue. It hasn't shed any bristles that I've seen. I've washed this guy probably 100 times and he still looks brand new. This brush is fantastic. I do own 2 of them because I was nervous that if this one died, I wouldn't have one. So I love this brush, and this is the e.l.f. powder brush. Now what I love about this is it's very universal. So when I first started my collection, I didn't have a lot of brushes. This did so many different things for me that I didn't have a need to go out and buy a whole bunch of other brushes for specific parts in my makeup routine. So you can easily use it as a flat side, so you can use it for using it for powder. It does a really great job for bronzer. If you use a delicate hand, you can use it for blush. I love the part that if you like to contour, put it on its side and then you can really chisel where you need it. I love it for that. You can even use it on your nose, like if you like have it like certain directions where the edge is hitting where you need to contour. It's a fantastic brush. And again, this one has lasted me ages. It's really inexpensive, and honestly, out of all the brushes that I have in my collection, including high-end, this is my favorite brush, and I would totally, if it, for some reason, something happened to all my makeup collection and I need to go out and buy like just a couple brushes, this is definitely one that I would pick up. Moving on to another good contour brush if you like something that's a little bit more precise, something that's not as finicky as that one. If you don't want to have to worry about having a certain direction, this one here from Real Techniques, which is the 3rd brush in that set. This is the contour brush, and it's a really good dome shape. It's really small and tapered. You can really pinpoint where you need it. You can use it here, and this brush is so soft and just really great. And now you can also use this one as highlight too, if you want more of a diffused highlight. I also like using it for underneath the eyes for baking, or if you like to put powder into there, good option as well. It's just a really great size, really universal as well. The next one is another e.l.f. brush, and this is the highlighting brush. This is what I love to use for highlight because of the shape. It's like that candlelight shape, and it is tapered, so you can really pinpoint where you have the highlight, but it's also, if you just put a tiny bit more pressure, you can use those extra bristles on the top to really diffuse the light so it doesn't give you that stark line. I also really love using this brush for setting powder. I'm someone who doesn't like to set my whole entire face because I have drier skin, so I like to pinpoint where I set my face. And this little size, if I use it flat, does a great job, so I can really like pinpoint underneath here. I can pinpoint here. If I usually use like a concealer here or a highlight here, so I can like pinpoint there. I can put it up here, and if I use it just that angle, I can really pinpoint where I need that powder to go, and it's not going to look powdery. It really melts into the skin that way, and I love that brush for this purpose. And then next we have the Wet n Wild. I believe this is the large stippling brush. It doesn't say on their brushes. This little guy looks a little beat up. I use him to death, and it is a stippling brush, so not as many bristles, but this is a great one if you like an all over bronze and you don't want to have like those stark edges, or you're worried about having too much product on. I love using this type of brush for that. Really giant, can really get a lot of bronzer on there. Really good at diffusing the color, so I love this. And also I like using this type of brush if I have a really bright blush and I'm nervous that it's gonna apply too much product. This is a good one because again, it kind of diffuses the light. It diffuses the color just a bit, so good option. And then this e.l.f. brush is also a great one. This is the pointed powder brush, and this is another one I like to use for blush. It's just a really great fluffy option. This one is also just easy because you can really just go sweep, sweep, and it just diffuses the color, and it just works really well. So this is a great blush brush if you like that more fluffy option. I really do enjoy this one as well. So this Wet n Wild one, which is the crease brush or the blending brush, I'll have to put the brushes on the screen or down below, but this one here is a really just, I use this one every day. The shape is perfect because you can really diffuse color. It's really good at blurring. Really just helps with, yeah, it just works. I don't know what to say about that, but it's a good one. I like how there is a little spot for your hand so you can really pinpoint where your hand is supposed to be. It really helps if you're new to using brushes. I really enjoy this one, really affordable option. And this one I've had for when they first came out, and it still looks brand new, and I spot clean them almost every day. Next we have this one here, and this one is dirty. It's like puffing up smoke. This is the e.l.f. blending brush, and I really like this one for, I use it every day for actually putting on my first layer of shadow. So I'll put on my primer and then I'll use like a nude color all over, and it just does a great job of just easily going boop boop, like it's so easy. I love the shape of it. I can use it flat to pinpoint, like to really pack on product, but I can also use it on the fluffy side to blend. This is a great option. Again, that one is from e.l.f. Next we have, if you want more of a dense brush for packing on shadow, this one is only $1 from e.l.f. This is the blending eye brush. I don't normally use this one for blending just because it is really dense, so I normally use that one for really pinpointing if I'm doing a smoky eye or if I'm adding an extra color to the crease, but I don't want to have it like blended out. I'll like use this one to really pack on where I want it, and then I'll use the Wet n Wild brush to kind of blend that out. So I really enjoy this one. I at one point had a few of them in my collection. I narrowed it down to one just because I narrowed down my collection, but this is a great option. And these brushes in general, this dollar style, the classic line from e.l.f., they are phenomenal. So just because they're cheap doesn't mean that they're bad. They are really great brushes. And then this one from e.l.f. as well, this is the Detail Crease Brush. I really enjoy the shape of this one. It's really, really small. You can really pack on eyeshadow like a dream. I love this little guy. I actually had one from Sephora collection almost identical, and I actually decluttered the Sephora collection and kept this one just because this one just is so easy. It's just like the perfect shape. I can even use it for like if I want a quick like inner corner highlight, I can just like pinpoint where I need it. It's just a really perfect shape. It just has enough brushes. I just really enjoy this one. And then finally, for more detailed work, I really have been loving this one from Real Techniques, and this is the Detailer brush. So this one is just a perfect shape. It's tapered. If you can see, so this one is tapered. It's just really, really tiny. I really enjoy this one for lower lash line work, so this is what I use today to get underneath my eyes to kind of smoke it out. Also a really good brush to smoke out liner if you like to do that type of option, or if you really need to do some detailed work, this is a really great option. And I believe e.l.f. has something similar to this. I just really enjoy the shape of this one, and I think it's a good brush that I didn't know that I needed in my collection, but it really helps do that detailed work that I wanted. So those are some brushes that I really enjoy. There's so many other options depending on what you like to do for your makeup, but I would check out those three brands if you're interested in brushes. e.l.f. is probably my favorite option if I was to choose one, just because they have so many different choices. They're very inexpensive. They have their dollar ones, and then they also have the ones that are like $3 to $6. I have not tried the ones that are their more like deluxe options, but honestly, I love their professional line so much that if I again had all my brushes like destroyed, I would probably just get a set from e.l.f. because you get quite a bit for very affordable. And I would also say that e.l.f. also has a lot of times where their website's on sale. The only time I ever shop on the e.l.f. website is when it's half off. So yeah, just keep your eye out because you can probably get even a better deal on these brushes, but even still, these brushes are definitely an affordable option. So moving on to tools, these are things that you'd want to probably accumulate over time to make sure your brushes stay clean and hygienic. You don't want to use brushes that are super dirty all the time, especially if you have acne-prone skin. It's just, I mean, bacteria can grow on your brushes. You just want to make sure you are cleaning them regularly. I usually clean my brushes about once a week. I know some people don't do it ever. For me personally, I just like to stay clean, especially when I had some acne issues. I was like cleaning my brushes all the time. So these are options that I really like to use when cleaning my brushes, and some of these are things that are not in the $10 price range, but I do have alternatives for you in the $10 price range. So let's just get going. So for cleanser, I normally use a spot cleanser on a daily for switching out colors, or if I don't have enough time to actually physically clean my brushes or wait for them to dry, I usually use a spot cleaner. So this is from Sephora collection. This is the mini citrus brush cleaner, and this little guy has lasted me such a long time. It doesn't, I mean, it goes really, really far. You just do a couple spritzes on a tissue, or I like to use a paper towel. You just rub your brush in it, and it just, they do have an option like this on the e.l.f. website as well. I've not tried it, but I heard good things about it, so definitely keep your eyes up for that. But if you are someone who you don't have time to deep clean your brushes every week, at least doing something like this is at least spot cleaning it and keeping it a little bit more hygienic. So this is a good option. For an actual cleanser of your makeup brushes, there's a lot of good options. I've used the Benjabel shampoo. That's a good option. I've used the Sephora collection shampoo as well. You can even use some gentle face cleansers. So I know Philosophy, their purity cleanser, if you just get the little bottle, that would last you a very long time for cleaning your brushes, and it also conditions your brushes. So using something like that. I also love using solid cleansers, and these are things that I get for 100-point gifts. When these come up on the Sephora website, or if I'm in store and these are 100-point gifts, I get as many as I can, because it's a way for me to not spend money on brush cleaner. I know that sounds silly, but when I go to Sephora or if I'm going makeup shopping, the last thing I want to buy is brush cleaner. So these are a great way for me to always have on hand. They're easy to travel with, and these are from Beauty Blender. This is the solid cleanser. I have the swirl and then the professional. Both work just as well. I've used both of them, but these little bars here last me ages. So this, I probably have enough of these to last me probably like a year and a half. So if you have 100 points and you see these, this is a good option for cleaning your brushes. You can also use it for your sponges as well, but they do a great job for brushes. For actual another option I really like to have is some type of mitt. So this is one from Sephora collection. You don't need to go Sephora collection route. I know J-Cat's just had one that has like a little lip on it, which is actually really handy because then you can keep the water inside and can help with everything. This is just the one I have from Sephora. And what I like is, if you can see, it's textured. So you can really get the cleanser on your brush and then swirl it in here. And it really does a good job. It's so fast that you can easily just get all that gunk out of your brushes, and it just works so much faster than just using my hands. So this is definitely a good thing that I love using. I feel like I use less cleanser that way as well, so it has saved me on that. And then the final thing is a brush tree. This is probably one of the best investments I've had in my collection for brush stuff or just tools. It is a Benjabel daisy tree. I don't think they make them anymore. I couldn't find them on the Beautylish website, but they have a very similar option on the Walmart website. I think it retails for around $7. I'll link it down below. But this is a good option. Obviously, it's compact, it's travel friendly. You fold it down, and then I'll show you. Ooh! So this is what it looks like all together. So it is a little tree, and you just stick your brushes in there when they're cleaning with the ferrule face downwards, and it dries them, and it probably cuts the drying time in half at least, and it doesn't make them have any type of weird shape. Super easy again to make it compact, and that is so helpful if you maybe have a smaller brush collection and you can't wait a day or two for your brushes to clean. That thing, I can wash my brushes at night, in the morning they're dry. Like, it really helps with dry time, and again helps keep their shape a little bit better. So those are all the brushes and tools that I recommend to you guys. It doesn't have to really be budget focused. Like, it's not like, oh, well, if you only have $5, get these brushes. It's kind of like, these are fantastic brushes for $5 and you should get them. So anyways, that is what I have to offer you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, please subscribe and stick around. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Again, I'll leave some links down below for these brushes, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.